Hi, so this is a quick video of the explosion project in Photo One. I have already shared with you the file that you need of your photo and the file of the explosion. What you're going to do when you get here is you're going to click on each of those and you're going to download both so that you have them. Don't just click and drag, please. And those will both go to your downloads folder that will be at the bottom of your dock. And I'm just going to drag those out onto my desktop just to have them easily accessible. And I'm going to open both in Photoshop. There's two ways you can do it. I'm just clicking and dragging it down to the icon, but you can also hold down the Control key and do the open with. I'll go back. You can hold down the Control key and do open with and follow that over to Photoshop. All right, so they're both open in Photoshop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to first go over to the tab that has my photo. And I'd like you to crop out all of the excess. You're going to have a lot of extra photo, primarily on the left and the right, that you're going to get rid of. You can leave these two numbers at the top absolutely blank. The only thing you should have entered is the resolution should be at 300. And you're going to just click and drag from the upper left to the bottom right of what area you want included. And you can see I've cropped out the concrete at the bottom. You'll most likely have some lights to crop out on the left or the right. And you're going to draw your new crop and press return to set that crop. Okay. Next step, you are going to go to select in the top menu, click on color range, and you have this function box that pops up. I'd like you to set the fuzziness to 70. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to click once in the green, and you can do it over here or you can do it over here, it doesn't matter. And then you're going to hold down the shift key. And you're going to just keep clicking in the greens until that whole background turns white. So what you'd like to see, and make sure, don't forget about the shadows. So you're going to have some dark shadows real close to you. Go ahead and click in there. What I'm looking for, and I can click over here, I'm looking for this whole background to turn white, and you want your figure to be black. If you goof up, oops, just go back and start over. Don't make it a big deal. So I'm going to click once in the green, and I'm going to hold the shift key and click, 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 click. Okay? Again, if you goof up, just start over. No big deal. All right, so I've got that pretty well selected. Everything in the background is white. My figure is black. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click invert. Okay? And I'm going to hit OK. So now you're going to see the marching ants have popped up directly around my figure. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to select again, and you're going to refine edge. And this is just, there's a bunch of different ways you can view it. Some of you might like to view it on white. I like to view it black and white. That's just the view up here at the top. And I'm going to go to Smart Radius, and I'm just going to go about halfway up on this. This should just take care of any loose ends that you have, especially around your hair. It should clean that up nicely. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And so now I have a really nice selection of my model. And I'm going to copy all these pixels within these marching ants. So I'm going to go Command C is my shortcut to copy. And I'm going to go over to the Explosion tab. And I'm going to go to Command V to paste. All right, so now you can see I have a whole different layer that's popped up above my background. And so in theory, you could imagine putting any background behind yourself. All right, I want to make sure I'm on the layer of the person. And I'm going to go to Command T. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Sorry. I just want to make this image a little bit bigger here. And I'm going to go to Command T, and what that's going to let me do is it's going to let me change the size of that layer. And I need to make sure I'm dragging from the corner. I need to make sure I'm holding the shift key. If I don't hold the shift key, I could easily get too wide or too narrow, and I don't want that. I want to stay proportionally correct. So when you move your shift key or move the transformation, you're going to hold the shift key. And I can drag her back into this. because her arms are cut off in the photo, I'm going to make sure that, let's do this. Because her arms are cut off in the photo, I want to make sure that they go off the edge so it looks correct. But you can really put yourself anywhere you'd like. Press return to set the transformation. And so now I have this. Now the last thing that we need to do, or one of the last things we need to do, is we need to go in, and you see how there's this kind of green tinge along the edge of her shirt and her hair and stuff. We're going to go in and clean that up. We're going to press Command U. You remember this? This is from the Eyeball Lab and the Color Change Lab. We're going to go to Greens. And what that's going to do is it's going to just only change the greens. I'm just going to crank this saturation all the way down. And so if I click this preview off and on, you should be able to see a subtle difference. Like look back here on her leg. You should be able to see a difference of that green kind of disappearing from a lot of that edges. Okay. I'm going to hit OK on this. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit. All right. That looks good. The absolute last thing that we're going to do before we save as is we're going to smush these layers together. You do not want to give your clients the layers. You don't want to give them your tricks. So we're going to smush those together. So, and then plus it's a smaller file size. So go to Layer, all the way down to Flatten Image. And now it's one smushed together layer. And you're going to go File, Save As. And you're going to call this your full name. And the hour. And the project name. Now, if it doesn't show up as a JPEG, that means you haven't flattened this down. So you need to go back and make sure that that's all flattened and squared away. If this is showing up as a PSD still, something's funky. So make sure you change it, okay? And you're going to click Save. Check to make sure that's at 12. Okay. And then you're good to turn it in.